So what are the next frontiers? Well, the next frontier, and again, this is the same survey of manufacturers all over the world of CLT. They're predicting that services is pretty much on par with quality in terms of the next frontier, how they're actually going to differentiate their particular product or solution, and it comes back to services. And if we look at services in a traditional sense and a prefabricated sense, we'll see that the top traditional supply chain has a design phase and a construction phase of relatively equal portions. When you look at prefabrication, we have a design phase which is significantly longer, and we have a construction phase which is shorter. So I guess the challenge to using new technologies is to reduce that digital space. And so we see here that there might be a 30% additional saving in the digital phase to be able to be the next frontier in getting efficiencies. And how do we do that? Well, we need to have platforms of technology, and we need to have platforms of people. So people coming together and collaborating at an earlier stage in a project and then working with platforms of technology may be able to be the solution to be able to getting that additional 30%. What are the game changers? Some of the game changers are in the Autodesk suite HSB CAD. So if you're using Revit now, there is a module that's been around for a long time which connects into AutoCAD called HSB CAD. HSB CAD came from timber framing. It has now got CLT elements in it, and bar 3 organisations in the world that produce CLT, the majority use HSB CAD. And as you can see, HSB CAD does a multitude of technologies, not just CLT. It started out in stick frame, it can do CLT as well. But the big innovation is that it's going to be now available in Revit. And when you have it available in Revit, you're able now to design CLT and timber elements from a digital fabrication perspective in a BIM protocol software that can then essentially translate right down to the CNC. It can even work with your logistics, it can work with your programming, it can get your efficiencies. And we see this as a game changer. Here's some of the, I guess, the things that you can do. Essentially, they talk to both types of technologies from a CNC perspective. So you've got the HOMAG family, you've got the Hundegger family, and they have different interfaces to be able to produce the elements that you need for your building. HSB has also got HSB Share, which then connects to all these other technologies that are available in a very large ecosphere. So it makes it very easy to be able to translate some of your designs into different technologies and then bring that back to a manufacturing perspective. And if you take IFC and 3D models and you put them into a cloud and you connect them with your metadata, and remember, one of the key things in BIM, especially if you're using different softwares for BIM, is exporting IFC and actually having the attributes attached to the IFC so that a manufacturer or another developer can actually use the technology. I guess HSB Share is starting to look at how you can use metadata scenarios and map across different technologies to be able to get outcomes in manufacturing. And as I said, you could use it for loading, you can use it for diagrams, you can use it for virtual construction sequencing. You can also use it to trigger QR codes for panels to be able to work on locations of where panels might be able to sit, which would be really good for people like Chris. What are the next sort of forays into AR, VR? I said before, don't believe the hype, and I stress that very strongly. I recently went to a study tour in, I think, June this year in the US, and a lot of the development in AR and VR that's coming out of the US is actually born from Hollywood. So they would have produced a lot of fantastical type concepts for using AR, VR. There is really no industrial applications at the moment, but I will show you one. This is a company called Dacry. Dacry has come from Hollywood, and they are using a headset, and they have come from doing AR, VR in a theatrical sense, and they're now having a go at trying to move into the industrial space. So this headset here is around about $3,000, $4,000 US dollars, so about $5,000, $6,000 for us. And it has a battery pack which actually sits in the back on your belt and connects up to the back of the headset, and is a very powerful unit. So this is sort of a deconstructed model of it. One of the things that you won't be able to see, but you might be able to see in this image here, is actually a camera. And this set of glasses can do scanning So you could stand in this room and scan the room and map it, and it'll actually use a laser point service to be able to match the geometry with what it's scanned with something in real time for CAD. These are some of the fantastic drawings that they put together to show you what the products can actually do. None of it works. However, this does, and this is a heads-up display for people in the field, and they have a program which again I said I'd introduce. They're able to go back to base. So if you have a technician out in the field, he has this headset, he's connected with 4G or 5G as they are in the US at the moment, and he's able to communicate with somebody in real time back at base about something that's happening. Now that would be fantastic if you're on site and you've got members and you've got an out-of-sequence timber construction that's trying to happen, and you can just go back to base and connect with someone in the office and be able to say, look, how do we rejig this building given the time constraints, and make a solution. They can also tag things. Again, this is a bit theatrical. It does look a little bit like this. I did ask the question, how does the glasses know that there's an object in space? And they actually said, we have a QR code which the glasses scan and pick up. I said, oh, how big's the QR code? And they said 15 by 15 centimetres, which is great for a building. But if you're working on a watch, you're not going to have a 15 by 15 QR code next to you. So the technology's got a little bit further to go. However, you can tag machines and have digital twins of machines. A lot of that, again, is still very theatrical, but they're starting to get there. And of course, from a building management perspective, you can also have augmented reality for services by looking through and scanning through a building and having an AR overlay or a VR overlay, depending on how you do it. And then we've all seen an augmented reality scenario where you use an iPad or a device. This is now starting to go into headsets. Hitachi have actually got a headset which is quite economical. It's about $2,000 Australian. And it can do some of this work. It's not as advanced as some of the other helmets. It doesn't do the scanning, but there are affordable solutions out there. And obviously we can convert 3D objects using Autodesk BIM 360. Again, using HSB Share or a cloud service or system, then you can link headsets to models to BIM protocols. One of the things that we already do in the industry, we don't need headsets for this, and we don't often use software like Revit, but we do virtual construction sequencing. So we take a plan, we look at the elevations and we model the building, and then we actually start to put together a construction sequence. And so here's a basic construction sequence that we put together on a typical project. And you're able to now sort of train the people that want to put the building together as to how they're actually going to construct it. And you'll actually see there's a lot of little dots there, so all the panels are numbered, and it's basically just building by numbers. And then you get the finished product. And the future holds something like this. Looks more like a cycling helmet that you get in the Tour de France when they're doing the speed time trials. But yeah, hopefully one day it'll actually get to a point where this is actually Daiquiri's hollow helmet type scenario. They're looking at a combination for construction purposes that has safety embedded in it, but you also have augmented reality. One of the questions I did ask was, how do you know if you've got your helmet on and you can't see where the safety barriers are? They actually do them digitally. So they actually do a perimeter scenario where they use the BIM and they take that and then they're able to trigger red alerts in the helmet so you don't walk off the edge. So why do we do it? Why do we do BIM? Why would we use this? Why would we use technology at all? Yes, we can get that additional 30% saving, no problem. But it's really about the transformation economy. The transformation economy is sort of the next evolution in economy and economic terms. And the model sort of is predicated on the idea that the customer wants ultimate customization. And so mass customization becomes a focal point. So any technology that helps enable mass customization then works in the transformation technology and economy sector. One of the concepts is pain share and gain share. So being a mass customised facility or an organisation that might do services that might be mass customised, they might actually turn around and say, look, we're going to offer you this service and we stand by our product so much that unless it actually works, you don't have to pay us. Conversely, if you pay us up front and it doesn't work, we'll give you some money back. And so this transformation economy is really around sort of pain share and gain share. Pain share and gain share is creeping into our contracts as well. So alliance contracts of the future will actually have pain share and gain share concepts within them. And these contracts are now currently being developed. So at the University of Melbourne, we're actually looking at the concepts of pain share and gain share contracting and alliance contracting. One of the significant develops from a BIM perspective is the NEC 3 contracts in the UK actually have a responsibility matrix, which says that each party that needs to contribute to a BIM has to provide a commitment to the detail and level of the information timeliness, and if the information is erroneous or it has errors through it, then they take a pain. If they are able to accelerate that and they're able to get performance gains in the program, they get a gain. Who can tell me what company this is? People from Asia will know, by the way.
I have a phone.
You have a phone? You do? Okay. So it's Me Phones. So Me is a phenomenal technology company. They are the Apple of Asia now. You may have never heard of them, but they are actually quite significant players. And one of the key things that they do from a transformation technology perspective is that they invite their users to tell them what the software updates should be in the future. And every week they release a new update, and the updates are the platforms or the programs or the solutions or the additional features that consumers want. So mass customization meeting technology in this way is truly quite evolutionary in terms of a transformational economy.